Sup bitches? I'm talking about what's up my bitches. Okay, move all that shit out the way. This here is the Glock 19, okay? And this video is, you know, probably gonna either generate some hatred in the comments or some people agreeing with me in the comments. And, you know, it's kind of an issue in the Glock community. Some people, you know, deny the fact that this is true, but what I'm about to show you is 100% factual evidence that what I'm saying is right about the Glock. I'm going to discuss three matters. I was about to say two, but three. The double action only. Okay, this is listed, if you buy one, as a double action only, but technically a double action only has a second strike capability. When you pull the trigger, the hammer comes back and hits the bullet. If it doesn't, the bullet don't go off, you pull the trigger again all the way to the rear and the trigger hits it again. With a Glock, it's double action only, but there's no second strike capability. So I call this the Glock action. It's striker fired. The striker is pulled back about 3/4 of the way, and when you depress the trigger, it pulls it up back, there's like a little plastic piece. The trigger comes back and it slides downwards. The little black bar comes down, and when it, you know, separates from the actual, you know, striker, it lets the spring go forward and hit the round. And there's no double action. It doesn't, like, if it fails to detonate the round, you have to rack it in order to cock the gun again. So I call that a Glock action. If you don't agree with me, then fine. You're just being ignorant. And yeah. Okay. Now since we got that out of the way, that ain't the main issue. You know, I don't, you know, care. I'm not gonna block anybody like some people say. You know, everyone is welcome to make comments on my videos. I just hate when I go on other people's YouTube channels and they block you just because you don't agree with them. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, I'm not like that. You know, if you don't agree with me, you know, I'll just agree to disagree. Okay? Okay. The second most, I mean, this is just my opinion, is the slide stop. Now let's go ahead and make sure we're unloaded. We are unloaded, as you can see. Dry fire. Okay, so what the deal is, this slide stop, if you call Glock, ask the manufacturer or anybody that knows the Glock, you know, that has any relationship with the Glock manufacturing, will tell you that this is really not meant for you to use as a slide release like that. It's really not meant, and you can look in the design of the slide release that it's so thin and streamlined that that's not the real way you're supposed to use it. Now, however, if you do use that, you know, if that's the way you learned your gun is to use that, then by all means just continue to do that if it works for you. But I'm just saying the way Glock designed it wasn't meant to be used like that. The way it was meant to be used, you have your fingers on the trigger, firing away, pow, 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 pow. The bolt locks to the slide locks to the rear. You put a new magazine in there. Say this was loaded. You would insert it into the gun, and once it's fully inserted, you know it's inserted all the way. You'd come back, pull this back, the slide back, just like this. Oops, hit my camera, and it would go forward. So let me show you again. You would put a new magazine in, rotate the gun, just do that. You'd come back. That's the way Glock intended for the pistol to be used. But like I'm saying, don't get butthurt. If you do, you know, if that's the way you learned your gun to do that, then by all means continue to do that. You know, whatever's comfortable for you is, you know, comfortable. You know. And I just had to get that out of the way. Now, this next issue, it's not really an issue, but it's kind of controversial in the Glock community, but I'm going to speak about it, and I'm not afraid to cut the BS. Some people will, but I really don't care. Okay. You see this so-called safety device? Okay, that so-called safety device. Now, the Glock fanatics out there will just, I mean, they'll start one-starring me probably immediately as I say this, because they know what I'm going to start saying. This thing is not a goddamn safety device. If you believe that, there's only two things I could say. Either you really honestly didn't know, or you're ignorant if you know the gun really well. And why I say that is because this really isn't a safety device. Now here's what happens. Let's run loaded, dry fire. Okay, when you rack the gun, it goes back to the rear, and when it comes forwards, you're gonna see the trigger go forwards like this. Okay, and you see that little thing pop out, so-called safety device. Now when you bring this pistol, when you rack it again with the finger off the trigger, the trigger wants to move back. It really does, but that so-called safety device is keeping it from going back to the rear. So all I'm going to do is put pressure on the safety device just a little bit, and you can see, let me bring it forward, you can see it now, it will go back. Now watch the so-called safety device, that bottom part right there. It's going to go click. You see that? That thing keeps this trigger from moving back and forth like this the whole time as you cock it or as you rack it, because that's a cosmetic issue. Glock didn't want that trigger to go back and forth every time you rack the gun. It just cosmetically doesn't look good. That's why they put that there. They're marketing it as a safety device. Okay, that's not a safety device. Okay, I'm gonna slide it back, lock it back. I'm gonna show you something. Let's zoom in here, about right there. I'm gonna take this Sharpie and I'm gonna push it against my floor like this, and I'm just gonna do this like that. And all we're gonna do is depress the so-called safety device, and you're gonna see the trigger snap to the rear. Okay, we're doing it real slow. Okay, you see that? It snapped to the rear. I didn't push the trigger, I pushed the so-called safety device. That is not a safety device. That device is simply a thing to cosmetically keep the trigger from going back and forth as you cock your pistol. Okay, cosmetics. It just doesn't look good. So we're going to depress it a little bit, bring it back. As you can see, it would do that. Now if you look down in this area right in here, you'll see that little so-called safety device pop out. Right there, you see it? It just popped out. That's what keeps it from going back and forth. Now, that's factual evidence. You can see what that is. That's what that does. Glock markets all their Glocks. That's a safety device. Now, if you honestly believe that that's a real safety device that can benefit you, I feel bad for you, because that's not going to benefit you at all. Okay? I mean, like they say, you're going to put this in your, like a woman would put this in her purse, and her keys and everything else will be, jingling around in there, and it could pull the trigger. First of all, you wouldn't put this gun inside a purse like with a bunch of other items. That would be kind of stupid and kind of negligent on your part anyways. If I was a woman and I was putting this inside of a purse, I would put it in its own compartment in my purse, or I would put it in like a little holster that covers up the trigger guard inside the purse. That's just me. If I was a female, that is, but I'm not. But anyways, that's how it is. Those are three issues no one really seems to, comment on, because it's going to start a war among the people in the Glock community. But I don't really care. But yeah, and that's what it is. But like I said earlier with the slide stop, if you like running your gun that way, perfectly fine by me. I mean, just continue to do that. I mean, I'm not saying not to. I'm not saying to. I'm just saying whatever's comfortable for you. Another thing is, I'm not what you would call a fanatic of any. Well, I can't really say that. I would be kind of being hypocritical a little bit. I am a 1911 fanatic. However, I'm not what you call defensive over the 1911. The 1911 has limitations that the Glock doesn't. Would be better in certain situations, just like any other thing. Like you got Ford, or you got the Mustang, the Camaro, right? The experiences I've had with Ford products are a pile of shit. I'm only Chevrolet only. I mean, hell, if someone gives me a Ferrari, Lamborghini, yeah, I'll take it. But you know what? A Corvette ZR1 will outrun those mofos. So, anyways, that's my 2 cents on this matter. Hope you liked the video, and do subscribe. Also, if you want to see more videos, you need to subscribe to my Try to Call 911 account, Tmuchonfire 104. and of course this is Teammatch on Fire 102. Those are my 3 main accounts. That's me. But anyways, I'll see you bitches later.